I'm joined today by Grand Chief Stuart Phillip of the BC Indian Chiefs, who's also on the First Nations Leadership Council. Grand Chief, the Council just recently called for the resignation of the BC Ministers of Children and Families. Why is that?
It's because this particular case is one of the most horrific tragedies involving the death of a child in memory in the province of British Columbia. It's absolutely horrible. These children were brutally beaten for a number of months. They were starved, and they were forced to eat their own vomit, and there was feces also. And I have never heard anything as as absolutely horrible in this particular case. It's outrageous. There was evidently no oversight, no regular checkups or anything of that nature, which is part of the responsibilities of the ministry. And now that it's become a public issue, the so-called parents, foster parents, received 10 years in jail, but in my mind it should have been at least 25 years each for both of them, yet it wasn't. So we're absolutely outraged that there hasn't been a very severe, decisive response on the part of the ministry, on the part of government, and certainly on the part of the justice system. It's been a complete, colossal failure of defending the rights of children. Unacceptable.
Grand Chief, I understand it was two siblings. One of them passed away, but the other one, I'm sure, deals with trauma every day from their experience. What can be done to overhaul this system that we're seeing with the BC Ministry of Children and Families in this province?
Well, the tragic reality is this isn't the first time we've had the tragic death of a child in care in British Columbia. And there's always the commitments on the part of the new incoming minister that things will change, that policies will become more rigorous, and there'll be greater oversight, and so on and so forth, and yet that never materializes. It's the same laissez-faire, negligent approach to child care at the expense, and in this case, the life of a young child. I have grandchildren the same age as these children, so you can imagine, how angry and infuriated we are.
Grand Chief, I know that the minister did a Zoom call and responded to the calls for resignation. What are your thoughts on her answers there?
It was deeply disappointing. It was frustrating. The minister continues to respond to all questions with the three speaking points that she expressed to the mainstream media when this story first broke. Basically, it's a terrible tragedy that these children were abused. She refuses to acknowledge that there was a death involved, the death of a child. And she says, basically, we need to do better, and we will do better. I mean, that's, we ask, what happened? Where did it go off the rails? And she absolutely refuses to answer those questions.
Grand Chief, thank you so much for joining us today, and our condolences to the family and the community in this terrible tragedy. Back to you in studio.